Here's your video summary. Today, we're talking about the perfect formula to build your extracurriculars to catch the eyes of medical school admissions committees. Spoiler, it doesn't exist. Chances are, you know one of these pre-med students. Member of every pre-med club on campus? Check. Shadows doctors more than the doctor's actual shadow? Check. Volunteered on a global medical mission? Check. Doesn't sleep and instead is an EMT all through the night? Check. Research guru? Check. Save the world? Check. Gave the Nobel Prize speech yesterday morning? Check. You know who I'm talking about. They've checked off every box there is, and clearly, it's a little too much. They're not crazy passionate about any one thing, and they're just doing it because that's what a pre-med student has to do, right? Well, not quite. And like always, you don't have to take it from me. Medical students love to cite the diversity of their students' bodies, and so it's obvious that there isn't one path that will lead you down the road of medical school admission success. I forget which school did this, but the dean of admissions compared his or her class to an orchestra. You need a violin, you need a viola, you need a conductor. If you have all the best violinists in the world, say, for this analogy, violinists are highly published research scholars, then you wouldn't have much of an orchestra. In this video, I'll outline the different types of extracurriculars, and we'll take the lens of an admissions committee member to help you understand better why these particular extracurriculars may be of importance. Before we get into it though, I want to hear from you. My videos are only as helpful as the people they help. I could provide what I think is the best message to 1 million of people, but if it helps no one, then it's not of use. I want you to pause this video right now and comment, what are your struggles with your extracurriculars? Are you having trouble finding them? Were you not sure if this one is worthy of continuing? Whatever it is, pause the video, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'd love to talk to you for a little bit about it. With that being said, let's get started. First of all, why are extracurriculars even important? Well, the simple answer is that they add color to your application. Honestly, there's probably thousands of applicants with the same grades and the same MCAT score that you have. Extracurriculars offer you the opportunity to show a more well-rounded, complete picture of your unique self. Let's get started with the general categories: clinical, research, and personal extracurriculars. Clinical. This extracurricular's importance should be the most obvious. All applicants to medical school should understand what it means to be a physician. Even if you scored 528 on the MCAT and have a 4.0 GPA, if you don't have any clinical experience, medical schools will toss your applications because, frankly, you're a flight risk. What if you start medical school and find out that you hate the smell of a hospital, or that you just really don't enjoy being around those who are sick? Now, I'm not saying that these qualities are bad. I'm saying that if you were successful enough to get those top-notch scores and grades, perhaps your talents are best used elsewhere. A perfect example of this is my good friend E. E started his undergraduate career thinking of going into medicine, but found that he didn't enjoy interacting with patients. They were just sick all the time. It made him uncomfortably sad, and he just couldn't see himself in that environment for a prolonged period of time. He still completed his degree in microbiology. He did it in 3 years, and he's now going into law school, where he hopes to take his science background and be of use in intellectual property law. This is a great example of understanding your strengths and being really honest whether you think medicine is right for you or not. Going back to the clinical experiences though, some examples include hospital volunteering, shadowing, hospice work, research involving patient contact, in other words, research in a hospital or clinic, international medical missions, etc. The goal of clinical experiences, again, is to ensure that you can show admissions committees that you understand what the life of a physician is like. You understand what a hospital is like. You understand what working with people is like. Research. Many pre-meds that I've interacted with are always looking for research. It's typically more elusive of an opportunity, but more importantly, every pre-med thinks that without it, they're doomed to fail in the admissions process. First, let's understand why it's even important. Of course, you're not applying to be a scientist. If you were, you'd apply PhD. Well, as a physician, you'll have to be well equipped to adapt with an ever-changing field. older physicians had to move entirely from a manila paper folder system to an entirely electronic one. More than that, there are new advancements in patient care all the time. For example, there's a shoulder patch that is being developed that can measure a patient's sugar levels. This makes it unnecessary to prick the patient for his or her blood multiple times a day. All of these changes are grounded in research, and it's important for physicians to be scientifically literate so they can understand, communicate, and perhaps even perform the research that advances medicine. With that being said, it's really not for everyone. You're going into medicine to be a clinician, so obviously it's not going to be too important for you to be able to run a Western blot or an immunostain. I do want to say though, you should at least try it. For all you know, research may be your calling, but more importantly, you'll learn a whole lot with a great mentor. You'll become intimately familiar with the scientific process. You'll understand how to assess with a critical eye, and most importantly for me, how to communicate your problems and your findings best to any audience. My research is in stroke recovery, and what was important to me wasn't that I could perform a retroorbital injection or a photothrombotic stroke. It was that I understood the rationale behind my project and was able to communicate why it was important. That was what my interviewers were looking to gauge. They didn't care that I could do a stroke on a mouse. They just cared that I knew what I was doing and that I was critically thinking during the time I was on their project. That being said, there are two overarching types of research. The first of which is basic science research. This involves the wet lab environment, where you can expect to pipette, run Western blots, run PCRs, work with animals, etc. This is more substantial, it's typically more significant because in general, it takes much more effort and time to publish or do any significant work in the basic sciences. It just takes more data. The second of which, though, is clinical research, and I think you should be familiar with this as well. This involves patients, either patient data or specific patient interaction. Here you can expect to analyze patient databases, do chart review, and other things. You'll learn about informed consent. You'll explore how specific interventions affect outcomes and other things. This research has a much faster turnaround, so you may find your name on a couple of papers over time if you decide to go this route. I encourage you to explore which type of research is best for you. I humbly believe that you won't know until you actually try. Personal. These are the last batches of extracurriculars. These are the extracurriculars for yourself, and I'd say these are the ones that make you stand out the most. Through my personal extracurriculars, I've met my closest friends and found an escape from the inevitable stress of college. These can include anything, really, from sports to arts and other creative ventures to outdoor activities to video gaming. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received was from my friend named R. And he told me that the worst thing you could ever do is introduce yourself and have to open with, "Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm a PreMed." There's more to people than their major and their career goal. And if all you can say is that you study neuroscience and that you're a PreMed, you may be winning the PreMed game, but you're losing out on a lot. To be able to say that I love basketball and on my free time I referee and I coach youth basketball, that was important to me. And that sparked lots of new friendships. I urge you to find time for these ventures and really develop them. They're just as important as your other extracurriculars. Admissions committees look to these extracurriculars to better understand who you will be in their medical school. Will you be the fitness guru that takes his friends to the gym? Will you be the chef who ups your class's nutrition game? Will you be the YouTube content creator that shows the world just how great medical school X is? Who will you be? And hopefully the answer is more than just a medical student. Now that we've discussed the various types of extracurriculars, let's chat about a framework or a mentality you should have when choosing how to pick your own. First and foremost, please know that there's no magic bullet. This is obvious because all the medical students in the nation took different paths to get there. Know, though, that there are some core experiences that I believe most, if not all, share. Second, I advise you to focus on quality, not quantity. When it comes time to interview, you really won't have the time to speak about everything you do. If you do 15 extracurriculars, in a 30-minute interview, you're going to get 2 minutes if you start right when you walk in and go all the way to the end. 2 minutes. It's not a lot of time. With that being said, don't spread yourself too thin. You won't have the time to speak about everything you do. This makes it infinitely more important for you to be able to speak passionately about 2 or 3 things. Really dig deep and get involved with activities you genuinely enjoy. Lastly, grow along your extracurriculars. Extracurricular activities should be a means for you to grow. Don't look for what you think will make you stand out. Instead, look for the extracurricular that you know will help you mature and figure out what you're genuinely passionate about. These are opportunities to prove to admissions committees, but more importantly, to yourself, that you've grown by being a student, by being a leader, by being an advocate, and that you're capable of taking a project you care about and create some tangible change while you're there. This passion, this maturity, that's what stands out, not the activity itself. Extracurriculars are merely vehicles for you to demonstrate qualities that are quintessential in a great doctor. Qualities like public speaking, communication with others, empathy. These are things that we develop from interacting with real people in a variety of real situations. Medical schools don't worry about teaching you drugs and bugs. They know they can do that. They've done that for years. There are doctors out there that are diagnosis and treatment machines, but today, medicine is more than that. We now need doctors who go into medical school with a baseline of interpersonal skills. Extracurricular activities are your training ground for developing this skill set. In conclusion, we need more genuine people. We need less of the people who follow blindly and are subscribing to some mold of what they think is a perfect person. We need more authentic people, and this is echoed in the medical school admissions process. This is the type of person that we're looking for to be doctors. You may feel overwhelmed. It's a lot to get the grades, the test scores, the extracurriculars. You may feel like there's no time to cultivate your personal interests. The secret here, though, is to not view medicine and your personal interests as being mutually exclusive. Find extracurriculars that you're personally invested in and demonstrate your commitment to medicine. Do you love playing the ukulele? Well, nursing homes, hospice centers, and hospitals would love to have you bring your music to their patients. The goal with your extracurriculars is not to perform life-saving surgery or radically reinvent the wheel. Your goal is to become intimately familiar with facets of medicine in a way that doesn't feel forced or burdensome. That being said, thank you for sticking with me through this long video. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please, as always, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with the new year.